My name is Thorn Alden, and I am 58 years old. This is the story of how a single text message during dinner saved my life, exposed my only son's betrayal, and led me down a path of revenge I never thought I'd take. If you're listening to this, I want you to know one thing. Everything I'm about to share really happened to me. Subscribe to my channel and comment where you're watching from. It was a night I had been waiting for, a long-awaited dinner with my estranged son, Kieran, and his wife. 3 years of silence had built walls between us, and tonight was supposed to be the start of breaking them down. The restaurant was warm, its chandeliers glowing above polished tables, the sound of cutlery and laughter filling the air. Kieran sat across from me, sharply dressed in a tailored suit, his eyes glittering with a confidence that almost looked rehearsed. His wife, Lena, smiled politely, though her smile didn't reach her eyes. I was just about to speak, to finally tell my son that I wanted us to start over, when I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I pulled it out beneath the table. The message on the screen froze my breath. "Get up. Leave now. Don't say anything to your son." At first I thought it must have been a mistake, but then something in my gut twisted. Something about the way Kieran's smile lingered too long, the way he avoided my gaze. Without hesitation, I excused myself, muttering something about the restroom. My legs felt heavy as I walked out of the restaurant and into the night air. 10 minutes later, red and blue lights lit up the street. Sirens wailed. Police stormed into the restaurant, and I knew if I had stayed I might not be alive right now. Let me take you back. After my wife Elara passed away, silence became my only companion. I lived in the house we built together, moving through it like a ghost. Each night I washed her old coffee cup, the one she used every morning, placing it on the rack as though she might return for it. Rituals like that kept me sane. My son Kieran was my only family left, but Kieran had grown distant over the years. Money had changed him. Success, or rather the illusion of it, had made him greedy. The last time we had spoken before that dinner, he'd stormed out of my house after I refused to give him $500,000 for one of his business ventures. I had built my life working with my hands, running auto garages across the state. I knew what it meant to earn something. Kieran didn't. He wanted shortcuts, easy money, the kind that vanishes as quickly as it comes. When I told him no, he told me I was worthless to him, and then he vanished. 3 years passed before I heard his voice again. A phone call, smooth and careful. "Dad," he said, "I think it's time we talk. Let's have dinner. Just you, me, and Lena. Let's start over." I wanted to believe him. Elara would have wanted me to, so I agreed, and that's how I ended up at that table, and how I got that text. When the police arrived at the restaurant, I didn't go back inside. Instead, I stood across the street, hidden in the shadows, watching. Officers rushed past me. Ambulances pulled up. Something serious had gone down inside. I didn't understand it then, but I would soon. The next morning, news broke. A violent brawl had erupted in the restaurant. 2 men were arrested, men tied to organized crime. Strangely, their names were familiar. I had heard Kieran mention them years ago when he bragged about powerful friends who could make him rich, and then my suspicion began. Was that dinner really about reconciliation, or was it a setup? I started digging. I went through old papers, records, even emails Elara had saved, and the more I searched, the clearer it became. Kieran wasn't just reckless with money, he was dirty. Shell companies, fraudulent investments, fake charities. His name was tied to all of them. And worse, so was mine. Somehow he had been funneling money through accounts still under my name, painting me as the one behind his schemes. My own son had been setting me up. That text. It hadn't come from him, it had come from someone inside his circle, someone who wanted me out before the trap was sprung too soon. The real dagger to the heart came when I uncovered documents from Kieran's lawyer. He was planning to have me declared mentally unfit, claiming grief over Elara's death had driven me unstable. With that, he could seize control of my assets. The garages I had spent my life building, even the house Elara and I had shared. My son wanted to erase me. He wanted everything. I could have gone to the police right away, but part of me wanted Kieran to feel what I had felt, the sting of betrayal, the collapse of trust, the humiliation of being cornered. So I played along. I met with him again, this time pretending. I knew nothing. He smiled, shook my hand, spoke about rebuilding our bond. But all the while I was gathering evidence. I hired a private investigator. I traced his shell companies. I recorded calls. Slowly, piece by piece, I built a case, so tight that even his expensive lawyers couldn't wriggle out of it. The final nail came from Lena, his wife. She reached out to me in secret, tears in her eyes. She told me she was tired of living in fear of him, tired of the lies. She handed me everything I needed, bank transfers, signed papers, proof that Kieran had been laundering money and planning to pin it all on me. When I finally confronted him, it wasn't in a courtroom. It was in his mansion, the house he had bought with stolen money. I stood across from him in his study, the fire casting long shadows. He smirked, confident as ever. "You think you've won, old man," he sneered. "You were nothing without me. You'll die with nothing." I placed the folder of evidence on his desk. His smirk faltered. "I built everything I had with my own hands," I said, "and you tried to take it all from me. But this time, Kieran, you won't take a damn thing. Not from me, not from anyone else." He flipped through the papers, his face draining of color. Within weeks, the FBI had him in handcuffs. Fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. The list of charges went on and on. The day he was sentenced, I sat alone in the courtroom. Kieran glanced back at me once, his eyes burning with hatred. But I didn't flinch. That night, I went home. I washed Elara's coffee cup, dried it carefully, and placed it on the rack. But this time, the silence in the house felt different. Not empty, not bitter. It felt like closure. For the first time in years, I breathed freely. Tell me, what would you have done if your own child betrayed you like this? Would you have gone as far as I did, or would you have walked away? Don't forget to subscribe for daily revenge stories that hit hard, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what happens next.